Death, Episode 7, Bureaucracy Part 3, in Limbo. Cold Open, Exterior, the Universe, Time. Death in voiceover.
Douglas Adams wrote that space is really big. He was being funny, creating maybe the single greatest understatement in the history of Earth literature, but he was right. I'd compare it to the story of the creator creating the universe and saying it was good. But that hardly tells the story. Now big, there's an adjective. Tack on the really, and you've got a pretty accurate picture. I mean, of course, you never can see it all. That's what I thought until I died. And now here I am, tourist of the really, really big.
Death floats through space in comfortable looking white pajamas, otherwise barefoot in childlike wonder and simultaneously like a wizened old man who's seen it all, or seeing it again in a new light. Many shots of Death floating through the cosmos. End of Cold Open, Death opening credits. Act 1, Exterior, Everything, Time.
Time, of course, is also long. Really, really long. Maybe not as long as the universe is big, maybe longer. I haven't seen it all yet. But hey, no time like the present, as a friend always said. Such an optimistic opportunist. Not a bad way to be, really, and I've seen lots of ways. Let's look at some of them now, like this is all a wee tot fucking telly program, and not the synapses of my newly mortal brain frying as I pass to my perilous demise. Eh?
As Death floats through a wormhole, we begin to see history unravel, the Big Bang, the stars and galaxies forming, the sun drawing in a molten, cooling Earth to orbit.
There's the first little bitty critters you might call life scraping together on Earth. Hardly the first to do it, but impressive nonetheless. Scrappy buggers. Never give up. Just wait out that billion-year cooling period and see what happens. Bit dull, if you ask me, and I was there. Luckily, our flight comes with fully automatic controls. So fast forward, ooh, dinosaurs. The plant-eating kind, boring. Get to the fights, yeah, there's some bloodshed. I cannot tell you how many plants I've taken. For so long, it was literally just microbes, stuff in water. Then plants showed up, and boy, was that a party. But this is turning into a science lesson. Boring. So who cares about the origins of the universe? Not the Seventh Day crowd, I can tell you that. In their honor, let's slag off Earth altogether, shall we? And head back into the big, big, big.
We pull out from Earth life progress montage and out of the solar system, out of the Milky Way, and out of the known universe, then blast out until it's just all sparkles.
The point of looking at the big, 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 of course, is to acknowledge that it is made up of the very, very small. All of it. Did you know? Of course you did. Clever thing.
We start seeing scenes of what Death references as we will for the duration of this hallucinogenic screed.
Here's me in some little piss fight or other.
Death walks in his period coat through a Civil War battlefield, dismayed at the devastation. A dying soldier calls out to him. It's Bradley, the Major's soldier.
You! There, sir! Sir! Please, sir, do you know my mother?
Not sure what you're implying, son, but yeah, it's your lucky day. I know everyone.
Tell her I look.
The soldier dies. Death just looks on past the horrors of the field as the young soldier's soul gets up and walks off, as in a trance without another word.
See what I mean? Little things.
Brief montage of the soldier's life, working as a slave, falling in love with a young plantation heiress and picking her a flower, giving it to her in secret, facing a lashing, kissing her goodbye before he runs away in the night, being quieted away on the Underground Railroad, hearing an abolitionist speak, and finally joining the Union Army. Then in the midst of battle, writing a love letter that we see stained with blood on the field of battle.
Every life that ever was, of course, fights an unseen war of their very own. Every little gene change up, every tiny happenstance improvement to so many that aren't. Every victory, every failure, They're each part of the big, big, big.
Illustrating this are scenes of stars collapsing or exploding, frogs catching flies or being eaten by birds, a small girl missing and then hitting a baseball.
There's little Gina Shaw, failing fantastically at T-ball on summer vacation in the States. Until she doesn't. Wasn't that fucking incredible?
Little Gina is all smiles and runs to her father in the stands.
Yes, go! Run, Regina, run!
I did it, Daddy. I did it.
No, darling, not to me. Run the bases, go round them.
Okay.
Little Gina is immediately tagged out and the assembled crowd awes. Gina's dad smiles his "you gave it your best shot" smile. He takes her out for pizza anyway. Interior Pizza Place Day.
I don't think I like T-ball, Daddy.
Then you'll love cricket. Don't worry, love. You'll never have to swing a bat again if you don't want to.
I just wanted to play what the boys play.
Well, let this be a lesson to you, sweetheart. Boys' games are rubbish.
I still like ponies, though, and pinks and braids.
Fair enough. Hard to keep a pony in London proper, though. When we get home, I'll see if we can't find the smaller plastic sort, much cheaper to feed and stable.
Okay.
Gina's dad smiles at her so affectionately and looks at his watch.
All right, champ, box it up. Your mum's expecting us back at her place within the hour. We'll have to think up some way to soft blow the news that Babe Ruth's left the sport of the Angels.
Dad, don't call me babe.
Sorry, toots. Come on now, shake a leg.
Fade to a campus and grown Gina in tears. Then to her studying with Claire over pizza and beers.
Oh, now here she is, dropping out of art school and switching to nursing because her ability to capture the finer nuances of her soon-to-be departed cat, General Custard, are complete rubbish. Don't worry, she has far better aim with needles than with paint and brush. Oh, and here's me and Miss Shaw skipping carefree through the park with our ice cream cones last June. Oh, it is what it is. Oh, there's me dropping my ice cream. We're all of us fallible after all. Only Gina's giving me her ice cream. What a sport, that one. Goddamn saint, mostly for all practical intents and purposes. We had a shag one time, but it didn't get too weird.
At this point, Death is on the ground within the scene and talking to us directly like a reporter narrating the scene.
And we've wound up pretty much present day. Miss Gina Shaw has taken my job and left me for dead, all I deserve. And she's doing a bang-up job, isn't she? Healing the sick by day, escorting the dead by night, making the sick dead by morning so she's to take them by night. Kidding. That part practically takes care of itself, I can tell you. Well, the making dead bit anyway.
Gina does all this and more in fast motion, Death talking at normal speed. We pull out again and get a fly-on-the-wall view of these next scenes.
Let's take a hop, skip, and a jump, if you will, now into the future of everything. Whee!
Gina helping the dead, various quick glimpses. She tends to wear pinks, whites, and blues. Some scenes are hospital, most are not. One is a space alien on a strange planet. Death steps into frame and then out again.
Look at little Gina Shaw now, all grown up and operating as death incarnate. It's a delicate position requiring grace and empathy. Sometimes a firm touch or a sense of humor, but always, obvious or not, it takes some genuine, honest-to-goodness love for the job. And by God, to do this job, you need quite a lot of all of the above.
Everything goes dark and Death comes into view again.
I'll be honest, I wasn't always a good death. I've been cold, calculating, cruel, but that never changed who I took. That part always, and I do mean always, took care of itself.
A montage of genocide and war, plagues and natural disasters.
Genocide and war, plagues and natural disasters. Death has been big business for quite some time on this particular little rock. But so has life. I hope that in the end, this great, big universe can understand what I had to do, what my purpose was, that it had to be done, that I was as much a part of it as any other little pig. Let me explain.
We see Gina escorting one soul of a double suicide.
You see that, don't you? They appreciate her, my Gina Shaw. And suicides are tough, see. Very difficult to comfort, to console, and no, maybe that's just for me, because I don't empathise with wanting to off yourself, having never been given the option. But Gina, oh, she's good. And take these two. Made a pact, only one didn't take. She'll wake up with a nasty headache and a lifetime of guilt and regret, but the other, nah, she's just done. And now Gin's got to explain that her friend ain't coming with. I don't know how she does it. I never could. Pretty much just patted him on the back and gave him a good let's go. Bastard I was. These two loved each other more than most. Now they'll spend a while apart. That is a true tragedy. I mean that. There's no victory of love in death, I assure you. Romeo and Juliet were young fools. I swear it's life that matters. Only life. Nothing ever does go quite to plan, does it, kid?
Gina ushering other suicides off with a gentle touch and caring demeanor.
But Gin comforts them. And she's good at that. She welcomes all who seek her embrace, a form of unwavering compassion that I never quite managed. I never could get the hang of suicides.
Death floats over the scene as Peter sits in his apartment in his underwear with the TV off, only one dim lamp on, looking at a photo booth set from a night out with Betty. As Death talks, Peter starts to touch himself. Then he stops. He puts the picture aside and just sits motionless, staring at the floor, tears streaming from his eyes.
Let's make a slight detour, for curiosity's sake. Here's Dr. Peter Cornell Marcus. His girlfriend was murdered, and he misses her. He knows this, but he knows more. He knows he loved her. He knows he didn't love Gina Shaw. That was a fantasy. Gina Shaw was available. Betty was special. He mourns her in a way he has never mourned anything. Dr. Peter Cornell Marcus feels alive in ways he didn't think he could feel at all. And now he wants to die. He would give his life if it meant she could come back, but that, friends, is not the deal. Dr. Peter Cornell Marcus will live, and he will suffer more than he ever thought he could. And he will be alive, and she will not. And he cannot imagine a greater injustice. No matter how many lives as a healer he will save, not being able to have her selfishly crushes him. He cannot currently envision a future in which it will not.
The scene changes and we are once again with Death floating in space. Death speaks to us directly.
Of course, Dr. Peter Cornell Marcus does not have the span of human existence in his noodle for context. We will try not to judge him in his quiet, desperate moment. Let's leave the chap alone.
And Act 1. Act 2. Exterior, everything, time. Death floats through space again, only now the scene fizzles like TV static.
Speaking of detours, this one might prove a bit bumpy. You know, seeing Dr. Marcus like that reminds me of an old girlfriend of mine. Lost her head for a comment she may or may not have made about frosted desserts. Just goes to show, you never can.
Death finds himself standing in a paper hospital gown in the HHR waiting room with his ass hanging out. He cinches it up in the back and looks around. There's nobody there. The lights are mostly off. There's a guillotine where Marie Antoinette used to sit with her head in her lap reading the same copy of the Daily Mail for all eternity.
Tell. Well, this must be some point in the future, but I don't know when. Or is this all just some fantastic moment of expiration, electroshock, disco hallucination? I think I used to work here. I think I was death. Well then, down the rabbit hole. Hello?
There's a bump and a thump in the other room, and Death cautiously goes to investigate the office. Inside, he finds HHR directing Devil Girl which boxes to take out. Devil Girl grumpily shuffles off in her high mini-skirted suit and 10-inch heels with a fresh stack, swishing her forked tail tantalizingly.
Oh, Christ, this is all I fucking need. What the hell do you want?
What's happening here?
We're going out of business. What does it look like? You know, a good Korean salon looking for a prime location? Street view is not very good, but lots of space.
HHR continues smoking a cigarette that was placed precariously in the desk ashtray and empties the tray onto the carpet. It falls in a depressing cloud. HHR drops the tray into her purse, then her HHR nameplate, then the bell, then a bunch of pens and a stapler. Finally, the kitty cat mug the pens were in, which doesn't quite fit. HHR drops it into the last cardboard box with a smallish plant instead.
Lock up on your way out, okay? Nice knowing you.
No, wait. What happened? Why are you closing shop? Who shut us down?
Your fucking replacement, that's what. Whole new ball game with that one. Lots of downsizing. No more heaven, no more Hades. Whole new ball game.
Yeah, you said that. What do you mean? Not Gina. Gina shut down the Nethersphere.
The new management's on some kind of no-fault insurance type kick. Call it what you like, honey. We're shut down, made redundant, fired. They'll all stick if you throw it hard enough. Eons of this shit and no pension. Fuck it, I'm out. Good luck on the breadlines, baby.
Yeah.
The door out HHR's office closes, and Death looks out the blinds to see HHR and Devil Girl load up the last of their things into the trunk of a great pink and lime green Cadillac, kiss with tongues, and peel out in a fiery blaze into the dark unknown. Death moves away from the blinds again and takes in the scene. There's still a phone on the desk. Death picks it up and dials 0.
Closing thoughts?
If not here, where's she taking them?
Not for mortals to know, dear.
Oh, shit. Right. Does that mean I need your damn bell so I to get out of here? The one you put in your purse before hightailing it with Miss Ruby Tits?
Oh, yeah, hang on. It's here somewhere. Oh, damn it. There's that gum. I was looking for that.
HHR's hand sticks out of the receiver comically, and HHR hits the bell button with her thumb. Ding! Exterior, space, time, etc. A somewhat surprised Death finds himself suddenly floating through space again in his white pajamas.
Boy, that was some kind of head trip. Where was I? No, forget it. Let's imagine an alternate universe where Stephen Hawking and Albert Einstein studied brain surgery, as we humans know a lot less about our place in the cosmos than we do. Or more fun, let's imagine a world without anyone insisting Jesus buried dinosaur bones to test our faith. So at least we're all on the same page with the whole big, long sort of stuff. I'm losing my train of thought. What was I saying about Marie Antoinette? Oh yes, such a shame when they just can't let go and admit it's over. It's ended, it's done. Move on with a new rag or something like that. Metaphors are hard. The point is the little things, right? The little things that make up the big things like grains of sand and hourglass. Eventually the glass gets flipped again and we all start over. Everything breaking down and collapsing on itself, and then boom, the Big Bang again. Maybe, in theory, possibly. Hawking called it the Big Crunch. I like that term. Sounds delicious. Now I sound drunk. Does this mean I'm dead? Or about finished dying? Am I about to see my Gina Shaw one last time for the great big kiss off? I hope so. I'd like that. I can take it.
A figure appears on the horizon.
Who's that? That's not Gina. Wonder who that is. All the way out here with me in the big everything. Oh, I remember now. I was deaf. I remember that. So I'm still me. That means I'm not dead. Not just yet. There's still some me floating around here, remembering it all the long.
The figure becomes clearer.
Who the hell is that? Very familiar to me. It'll come to me. I'll come back to that. Memories, my memories. So goddamn many memories. Lifetimes upon ages. The wars, loves. So many loves, and the few I shared. Profound. Godlike they were, the loves. And I was part of it. All the loves across time, particularly across human history. For the sake of this analogy, I was death. I drove people to love, to procreate, to beat me, or just to matter to another consciousness before it was too late. I loved every second I had. My God, did I. All the way to my Gina.
The figure is clear now. The figure smiles at Death and gives him a little wave.
Fuck me, I know that fucker.
Death calls out.
Hey, fucker! I know you, fucker!
The figure is long and dressed in white. Their sex is ambiguous, piercing eyes, long limbs. It is an enchanting creature to be sure, but stirs only rage and death.
I don't believe it. I never expected, not in a million, billion, trillion years to see, but how long has it been? Has it been a million, billion, trillion? I suppose we're coming up on that. In fact, the end where we meet back at the beginning or don't. The end that is the beginning or isn't. The big crunch to the big bang, everything after which was before, the oldest and newest thing.
We take a pause to see Death's recognition and a close-up on Esther.
If I am death, it is void, nothingness, the singularity, the absolute. It is destruction and mayhem, chaos and undoing. It is entropy, the always never. I have no gender for this being, so I call her she. For in my own long, big experience, I know that no man is so cruel as a woman scorned, and she is scorned by the very being of all. Oh, nameless thing, what shall I call you? Do I name you as the ancients, Mars, Zero, Pi, Thulu? You are the mysterious and infinite destroyer, all that consumes and does not return, a puzzle for all time and beyond. You were death before I was death, before I gave death meaning, before I embodied it and made a tool of life. Do you want my job back? Have you come for my shore? My Gina, will you undo all of my making, all of my glory, all of poor Jin? Is the cosmos punishing me? Now, did death hurt? Was it more than he could bear? Was I not gentle enough? Did what is called life not see how vital I was in that great, multifaceted living organism that is the big, long everything? Have I failed it? Have I failed my Jin? And as I speed towards the light, I decide, no, I am death. I have always been death. And if now Gina is death, death she shall be. And I will defend this fact because as I pointed out to the Moses rode a dinosaur people earlier, you don't get to make up your own motherfucking facts.
Death angles and plunges toward the light. Esther looks concerned at this. Death begins to shift and warp in his features, and we see his dark cloaked skeleton monster version flicker in and out as he hits a barrier and the cosmos ripples in neon pink halos with an atomic discharge. Death shoots back into the black hole he started in, and within a moment it begins to turn itself inside out and the universe around it begins to dissolve. Then a blinding flash of light and the darkness. End Act 2. Act 3. Exterior, the end of everything, and time is part of that. The light becomes blinding, and death seems to be pulled apart on an atomic level, becoming as dust or light particles lost in a swirling, exploding sea of light. Death closes his eyes tightly and screams a long, howling, manly yelp. What remains of the universe goes white for death, then fades to black.
I'm reaching the end now of the long and the big. It's all coming apart as predicted. Clever fellows, bright children. The light becomes blinding and it seems I'm being pulled apart on a macro level. Every piece of me becoming lost in a swirling, exploding sea of light. I close my eyes tightly and scream, a long, howling, mannish yelp. What remains of the universe goes white for me. This is the end of all things, and the white goes dark, the music stops. This is nothingness. The void, despair. The dark sheen comes for me now, and the film is over. Roll the goddamn credits.
We see only darkness now, it lingers. Then, interior, hospital room, night. After a moment, we have Death's hazy eye view. Death opens his eyes slowly. She's fuzzy, but the first thing he sees is Gina getting up and alerting someone outside the room. The sound fades in like we're underwater, then crisp as an ocean wave from the shore.
Claire, get Janet. Go. His eyes are opening.
Gina comes into focus and touches his face gently.
Grim. Mr. Smith, can you hear me? Squeeze me hand.
Death squeezes Gina's hand and she smiles so wide.
Oh my God. I thought, oh my God.
Carl is standing now and sidles up beside Gina, placing a hand on her shoulder. He looks affectionately at Death.
Hello, old boy.
Cut to Death grinning to see his friends.
Hey,
Don't speak, okay? Due time.
There are tears in her eyes. Dr. Janet Foam and Claire enter.
Hello, Mr. Smith. How are we today? Looking lively, I see. Do me a favor. Don't try to talk until we get some water in you, okay?
Death nods, being a good patient.
Hello, handsome.
Death winks at Claire.
Mr. Smith, I'd like you to wiggle your toes.
Death smiles and does a little 10-toed dance. The room gives a little applause as Death smiles wide for all the world has to offer. Gina collapses with relief into Carl's arms. Carl gives a knowing nod to deliriously smiling Death and pulls Gina out of Janet and Claire's way. The mood is good. Fade to later. Death wakes again and sees it's just Gina in the room now, asleep under her jacket in an uncomfortable-looking chair. He tries to speak, but his voice is still quite hoarse. He concentrates and tries again.
nurse, I'd like some more ice chips, please.
Gina snaps awake and processes the request before Death can laugh. She rushes to his side and picks up the cup out of the red cooler at his bedside.
Of course. Here.
Death sips the watery ice chips from a plastic spoon in Gina's hand and smiles a little smile.
Is that it? You want more?
Boy, did they pick the right girl.
Charm are you?
I don't know how to turn it off.
God. Where did you go while you were away in there?
Mostly talking to myself. Miserable company. I think I'll hang around this side of things a little while.
You better. I'm gonna go get a fresh cup. This is mostly water, and you're just supposed to have to the chips. Back in a sec, okay?
Okay.
Gina exits smiling and the door closes behind her with Death grinning for all his luck. Then he turns his head back to the middle of the room and his smile fades into a blank, dull gaze. We follow his gaze to see what he's looking at. There in the middle of the room, in the dark, stands the figure in white from earlier, looking ready to burn down the town.
Hello, Angel.
End of Act 3, end credits.